you buy hair clothes. Do not worry, I can buy it all on. I can be everything I like and want. Oh, all I can want. I work so hard, yeah, so hard. Focus, yeah, focus. I don't need help, help. I'm not a billionaire or a millionaire girl. I'm not a billionaire or a millionaire.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Geek 2.0 podcast. It's been a while since our last episode back in February, and a lot has changed. Um,
No.
hey, how's it going, Joe? So we got like a full house today. We got
Indeed.
we got Joe, we got Cliff, and we got Tommy.
I like how we
We
all
all did it in
waved
time, yeah.
without being told. Like idiots.
So how's it going, everybody?
Are we
Yep.
going on?
Yeah, it's going. So, if you haven't noticed by the title of today's show, we're going to be talking about a lot of things that have been going on since what beginning of March, late February, where things have started, and especially in this country, where everything has started going to hell in a handbasket, pretty much. We're talking about the human malware because I don't know if we can still say the C word on YouTube without getting demonetized and taken out. Oh yeah, it's been a big thing with a lot of different. If you have the C word in the title, but we're calling it human malware because it kind of fits.
Because everyone's trying to capitalize off of it.
Yeah, I think so. So
I've
they're
been hashtagging on everything I do. This way I can get enough hits.
Look at me! Look at me!
oh, look at me. That hashtag is like pretty much half your tweet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Caption this, and then it's a bunch of hashtags.
Yeah. So yeah, if you notice that we're all from home, we're not all in the studio, so we're
I'm
all on
from a
Skype.
dislocation that you can't tell.
Oh yeah, yeah. Cliff's in a bunker somewhere in the middle of the country.
He
Are
took
you
this
even in this
really
country still?
seriously.
Shh. He's in an undisclosed location.
He's a prepper.
With Jeffrey Epstein, weird enough.
Yeah.
Aw. He's here in spirit.
Oh.
And a lot of us also have been working on our quarantine beards.
Tommy.
I haven't shaved in 2 days, so this is as good as it gets, guys.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about like working from home, how kids would be dealing with school from home as well. Um, a lot of times, everything is going on where this is just completely messing everybody's lives up, pretty much, and schedules and how to deal with this, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is let's go ahead and jump into the all important the working from home aspect because we're all working from home, right? Well, Joe, you've been working, and Cliff, you've been working from home for before all this.
No, actually, I've
Oh,
been
no,
going
you?
to the work marts. I just
okay.
I work
started
from home.
about a month ago, I think.
Yeah, I've done it for over a year, so it is an average day.
And I was working from home and traveling a lot. And then I got a new job where I work out of an office and don't travel. So it's like going back to a good, comfortable area for me.
Yeah, and I've been started. I think this is my going into fourth week, so about a month working from home. So this has been I've been enjoying it because I don't care going into the office.
I actually miss going into the office.
I don't. Not at all.
See?
I'm fine working from
Yeah.
home, man.
I like this because I can turn, I can actually see outside. I can go outside within a few steps.
That's true.
Mhm.
I'm saving a whole bunch of money on gas.
That's true too.
Yeah, that's
Better
But-
than
my car
gas-
hasn't moved in 3
But
weeks.
gas is like $1.20 now.
Well, here it's still $1.78, or I don't know. That's the last time I saw it.
The last time I saw it was $1.30, $1.50.
Wow.
Like this is a conversation I have with my mother all the time whenever she travels. She talks about how cheap gas was anywhere she goes. So
That's how you can tell how old we all are.
yeah. God, did you see? It's $1.25 down the road. That's phenomenal.
Holy moly!
The nice thing is, since a lot of people aren't driving anymore, is like a lot of insurance companies are offering rebates because like nobody's on the road. I know a couple of companies have reached out saying like, "Hey, we're not going to charge anybody, or we're going to give out rebates to people."
Mine's doing like a 15% rebate for the next 2 months or something.
That's pretty
I paid
dope.
mine for a year, so I have to figure out when that happens again.
Or you're one of those good people that pay up front.
Ooh,
They should still reimburse you.
yeah, they
I'm
should.
sure. I'm sure there's some paper coming down the road.
Yeah, I'll give you a check for $1.50.
There you go.
Thanks, Grandma.
Oh, that's adorable.
But yeah, it's just one of the things where the companies that we all pretty much work for, we are having to deal with this where they're kind of caught unawares with their pants down pretty much. Um, I know Joe, you've been working from home for over a year, so and your guys' setup is probably no problem. But I know my company is like, what do we do? Okay, yeah, sure, go ahead. Just take the computer and your monitors, and you should be good. Which it was no problem because we all go through a VPN anyways. Um, Tommy, how is your company dealing with all this?
So I work for a telecommunication company that should be unnamed. But one of the interesting push is even though we're a telecommunication company, we didn't do a lot of work from home. A lot of the people that worked at our company worked out of offices. So all of a sudden, we were pushed to work from home, and I feel like a lot of companies are now obviously being forced to work from home. They're creating work from home policy. So we've actually had an uptick in customers saying, what do we have to do to have all of our staff work from home? And the more I read about it, the more companies now are saying we may never open up our offices, even though they're not going out of business. They're not going to shut down. They're going to shut down their offices because they've seen an uptick in productivity from their employees. Even my company has seen like a 20% increase in productivity because people are getting to work from home. As soon as they started getting used to that concept, like we had a kind of a slow period for the first couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden there was this huge uptick because people are realizing like, oh, I can take care of my kids, I can come downstairs, I can make my phone calls, I can go on my meeting, and I'm not stressed out. I'm not looking at the clock to get stuff done.
That's the same thing that I said back when I first started working from home. I was like, I've been wanting to do it even back before I was able to. And I was like, I'd be so much more productive if I could.
Yeah, I mean, I get hit up. I get hit up way more now from because I work in sales. The other people that work in sales are constantly communicating, like it's nonstop. Actually, it kind of gets on your nerves after a while because you are trying to get other stuff done, but people just keep on IMing you.
Yeah, I've had to deal with a tech support issue with one of our employee that in our department with trying to set up her computer through the VPN and trying to talk to I'm guessing she's 75 and how to connect her computer and everything to her modem and her router and stuff like that over the phone, and is almost kind of like a language barrier because there's certain where she speaks a different language, but her accent plus over the cell phone, which was a kind of a crappy signal to begin with, I'm having to pick and choose or words out of her conversation that she's saying. I'm like, okay, it doesn't work that way. No, you gotta do it this way.
Take you back to your ISP support days.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, it's a good thing I don't have to deal with that. Oh,
It's
some of the
nice.
stories. Yeah, having to
Once you get
deal
out
with
of
people.
having to help people out like that, it's always like the best thing in the world.
Yeah, or having me constantly berated and yelled at because they did something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's just this whole situation with the human malware. I'll go ahead and say COVID. Who cares?
It's not in the title.
So,
Yeah, it's not in the
so
title.
provocative.
Ooh. So brave.
Hashtag.
Check brave here.
But yeah, it's just one of those
Everyday heroes.
thoughts and prayers.
Oh,
But yeah, it's just one of those things where we're pretty much having to go back to a I'm not going to say like society like back in the day, but it's just a completely different way of thinking and working. and how to actually function in today's society, where you're not going out, you're using either mobile online ordering for your food and or your groceries, and going to pick it up and having someone hand deliver it to you or put it in your car, or having someone bring it to your house. So it's just like one of those things where complete shift of how you're doing things.
See, it's funny for us. That's actually how we've done things even before all this. We still did a lot of the delivery stuff, or park and they bring it out to the car. Like we did all that stuff before. The part that's the hardest, though, as far as I'm concerned, is actually because of the lack of supplies. It's harder to buy stuff online to do that.
Yeah.
You actually have to go into the store if you want even a chance at getting some of the supplies, which kind of defeats the purpose. They tell you that they want you to do online ordering, and then you see on their app or their website, not available for online, in-store only.
Yeah, I've bumped into that quite a few times. I'm like, man, I just need deodorant, dude. That's all I need. Luckily, it's an essential on Amazon, so they still deliver in the same time frame.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you notice
I
a
didn't
lot
wanna be
like at
stinky anymore.
Amazon, it's everything else that is not essential gets bumped maybe a week or further. So if you want to buy like a DVD, well, who buys DVDs? But just example, it's going to be like a month out.
You got to remember, clips in a bunker.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
He needs the physical media.
Just want anything traceable.
Exactly. I don't even know why I'm here. I should just be a blank spot here.
Yeah, it's
Just
like,
the blackout.
Yeah.
yeah, the Blake outline generic.
Yeah.
The voice change.
Just, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
I wound up
Go ahead.
ordering some stuff on Amazon, and it wound up I wound up canceling it because it was going to take a month for them to get it out to me. So I was like, oh well. I wound up getting it through Kohl's instead. But yeah, I was like, man, oh man, But that just shows you how society is. Like back in the day when you used to order anything, it used to take about that, a couple weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks to get to you, and now it's like, well, I want it tomorrow. I need it tomorrow.
Mhm.
Instead of instant gratification, and now you can't get it even if you go out. You can't get that instant gratification if you want something right now and then.
well, it kind of reminds me, like you think back even further, is like the general store in town. That you go in order every month. You go and pick up your supplies for the month because you're having to spend 2 to 3 hours traveling from the homestead to town.
Versus just one store, you have to go to like 4.
Yeah. Or you get the Instacart and
Yeah.
hopefully have stuff in stock when they go out and shop for you.
Now everything's, you can't even do same day or the next day. You have to do it like 2 or 3 days out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I don't know about you guys, but like back before all this, when we bought like toilet paper, because that's the big one,
Yeah.
on a normal shopping day for toilet paper, we would get like a big pack of like 24 of the big rolls,
Mhm.
and we'd go in the garage, and it would last us, quite a while until it was done. We're okay. We still have that pack, but I'm thinking like if we run out, we can't do our normal shopping for the big pack because that's like the stigma now.
Yeah, it's
Well,
TP is worth more than gold right now. For some odd reason. Why? Why is it toilet paper?
Because
of all
of
things.
stupid people, and they heard it on, they heard it on Facebook,
Yeah.
or their favorite news station made one mention of it. But now because people mass do it, and the people who normally do it are now mass doing it because of the fact that there's nothing there anymore.
Yeah.
I saw
I
something
know.
funny. Go ahead, Tommy.
Oh no, the thing about it, like the toilet paper is one thing. The major thing for me that keeps on, it's the weird funk when you do go out. Like I recently went out to go pick up supplies, and everybody looks at each other like, "Are you okay? Did you cough?
Oh,
Are you wearing
okay,
a mask?"
Are
I'm
you a
sitting there
danger?
like, more people are
But
probably more clean now.
Yeah.
Well, in theory, right? But
Yeah.
Yeah, they got all the
but
toilet
it's
paper,
also
so
like
they
that.
got some of the cleanest butts in the world.
Exactly. But like even leaving the house right now, like I mean, I live out in the country, but there's a major road not too far from where I live, and when you go out, you can hear the cars pretty consistently. Now, when you go outside, it is dead silent, and it's just this weird, creepy feeling whenever we go out now. So,
Yeah.
let alone going out for supplies.
Oh yeah.
Or heaven forbid you swallow wrong and you end up having to choke and do a slight cough.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at each other.
Everyone's just
Oh God, Tommy, you must be the same way I am with allergies. People are looking at you like, oh my God.
Well, because I have asthma. If I do get it, there's a higher chance of complications. So like I become one of those people. Like I'm like, I wash my hands when I go to the bathroom. You know, I bathe pretty regularly. But now it's like I'm like a weird germaphobe. Like I keep hand sanitizer on me, which I've never done in my entire life. If I go out, I have to wear a mask. Like my doctor's like, yeah, no, if you go outside, don't
Oh, yeah.
leave without
Oh,
a
yeah.
mask. You know. And even my stepkids, like my stepkids go to their dads. And right now, like I can't be near them for at least, a couple of days before, just to make sure, because he's one of those people that believe it's a crazy conspiracy that's not real. So he's not taking any precautions.
you take them through a little hazmat entrance through the garage.
Yeah, it's starting to look like
E.T..
Fallout in this place right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of things because social media. I mean, even before all this,
Blessing and a curse.
yeah. So I mean, I've just been noticing it for the past couple weeks now. Also with the people say because this is all because of 5G. So you have I think it's in France or Europe somewhere that people are like damaging the 5G towers or cutting the lines for hospitals and stuff because they're afraid of they heard or read about it. It's because of this causes this. It's just like
What?
yeah, the world has collectively lost their marbles.
Well, we do that already.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, okay, but what about the countries that don't have 5G infrastructure yet? How is that happening? Like, there's only like 4 or 5 countries that have 5G capabilities, but there's, over what 200 countries now infected.
Mm-hmm. Pretty
So,
much, yeah.
I don't think
Well,
the
you
numbers
also
work
got
out
to
too
take into
well.
account the ones that do have 5G. It's not exactly everywhere. They say
No.
it's everywhere. It's not everywhere.
Yeah, like
It's in your big
Chicago.
metro. It's your big
Yeah.
metros.
It's not even. I don't think it's at even at all the big metros yet. Like you look at, I'll just use T-Mobile. Their 5G. I think it's like Miami, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had it
I
set
don't even
up for
think
the Super
Orlando
Bowl,
has it yet.
Yeah.
and even then, it covered just the stadium,
Yeah.
maybe a
Yeah,
little bit
exactly.
areas
Yeah.
around it. That's it.
Well, the other flip side of it is, I got actually, I'm pretty much staying away from Facebook because I realize that the friends of mine that I respect and think very highly of are Alex Jones turning the frogs gay level conspiracy theorists. Like
It's
I'm
a
like,
conspiracy.
oh hey man, oh no, I liked you. Like that's some crazy stuff that you're now saying.
Yeah,
That's partially your fault because you kept saying how much you love conspiracy theories.
I do conspiracy
it's
theories.
the algorithm.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, you say it one time there, that instantly sets you up for the rest of your life.
The
Well,
rest
and
of
I
us
always
are
make
now screwed because of Tommy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I
Thanks,
always
Tommy.
make that caveat before. I'm like, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I love conspiracies, especially the crazier ones. And then all of a sudden, be like, well, you've heard about Project Bluebeam, right? I'm like, oh crap, here we go. Like this is going to start a conversation I don't want to have.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, like you said, it's a blessing and a curse, but it's also a good thing because even right now we're using Skype. I mean, it's
Mhm.
not the best, but I think it's better than Zoom, which a lot of companies that if they don't use Skype or Teams, are probably going to use Zoom or
Yeah, 'cause
some
it's
kind of
free.
issue. Yeah, it's free, and everyone has heard of it. It's like it's easy.
Relatively free, Joe.
Yeah, it's what $30 a month or something like that, or $15 a month.
Really just depends if you're going to have a meeting with more than 3 people
Yeah,
for an hour.
but we've heard they've had some issues with security and stuff like that, and a lot
Oh,
of New York State, not, school system has banned it pretty much from using Zoom because of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, people are uh, hijacking people's streams and putting on massively inappropriate things on
Yeah.
children's school
No.
meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's was it what do they call it? Zoom bombing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Now we had swatting. Now we have Zoom bombing. Great.
World we live in, man.
Yeah.
That's why we can't have nice things. Come on, people, seriously.
Well, even
Yeah,
I don't know if
we
you
all do this.
I don't know if you guys caught it last night's Saturday Night Live.
I was actually just about to ask if anybody saw it.
Yeah, I watched it. It was kind of crazy. Everybody filmed their own thing from their house because they shut down the studio.
No,
So
I
it's
haven't
all
watched
either
SNL
through
in a
cell
while.
phone videos or it's through Zoom meetings that they did it through. It was just bizarre to watch.
I'll have to look for that. I haven't seen it.
It
Well,
was
a lot
hosted
of
by
things.
Tom Hanks too, so that was pretty awesome.
A lot of things
That's
like
like-
the WWE, they did what was that SmackDown or WrestleMania without
Yeah,
an audience.
WrestleMania was in a closed set.
Yeah,
So
I was
it
gonna-
wasn't Zoom WrestleMania because that would be
I
hilarious.
thought you were
But,
gonna say
but it
everyone
was
was
essentially
wrestling
like
from home.
their training facility,
wrestling
and
from
they
home.
just did just them.
I can
thought
just
they
imagine
all
that
had,
now.
Like their little plush WrestleMania pillow figures that they were wrestling from home.
Or it'd be like those videos where you watch somebody dropping a GoPro from high up, like from skydiving, and all it does is circle. It's the guys running around and throwing their laptops around.
That's like Funimation released something because they're going to have their first dubbed episode actually airing today, the date of this recording, where they had everyone who did the voices recorded from their home studios, and they did it. It was, I think it was done over Skype or something, but the audio engineers had to account for 30 different acoustic settings because of every single person working from home and adjust for that to make one episode.
For
That's
most of it,
insane.
knowing some of the VO people, they have actually studios. It's not like us where we're in, your living room / office.
Except for
They
you,
have,
Cliff.
They-
soundproofing and stuff.
Great. They showed video of some of them, and they
I'm
weren't
sure.
exactly
I'm
professional.
sure that not everyone is, high end, the Laura Baileys, the, Chris Sabat's.
Yeah.
They have other people who are still working on them, but they would have at least some of a soundproofing.
Well,
I
a
would
lot of this is going to affect television and movies and stuff like that. It already
yeah.
has. I foresee that we're going to see a lot of animated series come out within the next couple months, even all the way into next year, because no one is really going to be doing any kind of live action.
Well, it will
series.
be pushed out.
Oh yeah,
Like they have stuff already in the can for this summer or maybe the next summer, but it'll be like the summer after that where we'll have like 2 or minimal stuff.
They did an episode of Modern Family that was all done through like Skype and video calling and stuff like that. So I mean, it can be done if it's done properly.
But you can't do
Yeah.
like your Black Widows through Zoom.
Correct.
no.
Yeah, exactly. I know because I've been watching. I watched John Oliver and I watched Real Time with Bill Maher, and it shows you the two different levels of somebody that knows how to do it from home. Like John Oliver's production looks like he's doing it out of a studio. Like it's obvious they got it all set up and everything like that. He's got good cameras, good background, and then you watch Real Time, and Bill Maher has it obviously doing it from his iPhone 7 in his backyard with like one of those tripods that you buy for like $10 off of Amazon during daily deals, and it just shows you like the two different like setups that somebody can have.
Or the forethought in front of it of like, okay, we know we're going to do something. Here, get some of the equipment for this versus, oh, well, this is coming down the pipe and I'm not going to think about it.
Well, especially, John Oliver's a nerdy guy. I have a feeling that he probably was like, I know how to do this, and he got it all set up.
Or
Yeah,
the
exactly.
fact that he has people like that done this before.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's
being part of
HBO
that
money.
YouTube generation too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we grew up before YouTube was a thing, but we at least were part of that generation. It's like, oh, okay, we saw the birth of it and we understood it. And I think that's the big difference is you could tell the people that now understand that YouTube generation how to build their own content and the people that don't.
It's actually interesting seeing all these content, like you said, like YouTube content people trying to work around this,
Yeah.
trying to find ways to do this.
Yeah, because I've heard that a lot of like YouTube content creators. I mean, we know how to do this, but they're actually being asked by like large studios, like, what do we do? How do we downscale our production to something that can fit for like use a phone or maybe a single red camera or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing is to learn how to do it, you go on YouTube to find out exactly how to do
Yeah.
a YouTube video. There's tons of tutorials on how to do a YouTube video.
Yeah, because a lot of people are doing. I've seen on like Mixer and Twitch. There is a lot of like educational or teachers live streaming or doing the church services on live streaming that you've never really seen before, where it's just all of a sudden blowing up pretty much during this past month and a half, 2 months. So there are ways of how to do things are changing how to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think this has also created an outlet for people because I know for me, I've got nothing but time on my hands, and every day just seems to be melding into another day. So I've been trying to use it to learn anything that I can and trying to implement it. I know I've been watching nothing but After Effects tutorials on YouTube nonstop. So
Yeah, I've
You
been
I don't know what, I
doing
don't know what
break
I've
them
ever
out
used
for
it.
us?
Go
You're
ahead,
not
Joe.
breaking them out for us?
Oh, I will eventually. I got to build content first.
That's the thing. It's like I'm learning how to do more like production work. Like I've been doing this for a while, and then doing more of like um, getting better at it. Like I've been trying to work with a program called vMix. It's a lot of pros use it, so I've been trying to work with that. I was going to use it for this, but I wasn't getting everything working out just right. Still have to learn it more because I just started for Friday. I mean,
Fair
I
enough.
got 3 months for a free trial before you have to pay for it. I mean, it's an expensive program, but
I will be completely honest. Whenever I do videos for people, they're like, "Hey, I saw this. Can you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can do that. That's totally. I do that all the time." And then it's like, next thing I got to do is like, "Oh, dang, I got to go find this on the
start
YouTubes and figure out
sweating.
how to do this."
Tommy, you built your career off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it. That's 90% of my career.
That's what we all do. It's like tech support and stuff. Google is our knowledge base.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's I know, Joe, you've been learning all sorts of stuff. Like, how are you branching out from what you've been learning even before all this? Did you try something? Oh, let me go and try something else, see how that works or something like that.
Funny enough, I've actually had less time
Really?
since all this is picked up. Yeah, because the spare time that I do have now, I've been putting more towards either keeping the little one busy and entertained,
Oh yeah.
or cleanup and all of the stuff that I said I would get to when I had time and knew I never would. Well, now that I do, I'm getting to it, so I can get it done and out of the way.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing with family life and how to um, deal with schoolwork, because I know Tommy with your stepchildren and stuff like that. How are they having to deal with doing online courses? Pretty much, I'm gonna say call them that, anyways.
So it's been a unique experience. I've always had a lot of respect for teachers because
Oh yeah.
mostly, as you guys know, I'm not big into children. So anybody that's willing, especially if they're not their kids, more patience than I have. I have stepkids. I love them to death. They will drive you up a wall. And anybody that's like, oh, I'm going to take 30 of these and keep them in a confined space for 6 hours a day and hope that everything works out all right. Wow. But now there's a whole other level. And I know and I've read a couple articles that a lot of people are actually refusing to do the homeschooling for their kids because they're actually feeling like they're doing a disservice for their kids. And I'll give you a prime example. Like my stepdaughter is at that age where hormones are starting to flow, right? And all of us are idiots. She knows how to do it. And she doesn't want to listen to anybody telling her that she's wrong. So at least 3 times a day, there is a full-on emotional breakdown in our house during our school time because, and we asked her, but like, do you do this to your teachers? And what you realize is how your kids interact with strangers, teachers, authority figures, is going to be completely different than how they
Oh, yeah.
interact with you.
Oh, absolutely.
So when we tell her, like, I'll give you a prime example. She wanted to learn how to play tennis. We already had tennis rackets. We wound up getting new balls, and she kept on hitting it wrong. And all I did was, hey, come over here. I'll show you how to really hit it. And she goes, I already know how to hit it. And then she just had a full emotional, ran into the house crying, could not be consoled for half an hour. Now, if we paid a tennis instructor to teach her how to play tennis, she would have listened. She would have sat there for the half an hour. But since a parent is trying to teach her something, it's an emotional moment.
It's completely
So
different.
that's one of the problems that we're bumping into is my girlfriend specifically is trying to teach the kids, but there's that kid parent argument part that I don't feel like they would have with their teachers.
Oh yeah. But Josh and Tommy, you have normal school kids in the sense of like all you have to do is just do your work. I have to become a PT, an OT, a vision, and do school to do all this. And so that's a whole different area. Like I understand where you say I'm doing a disservice because I'm not a licensed physical therapist or occupational therapist, but we're working with the environment that we have to do.
Right.
So
Yeah,
like
we're working around it, but
Yeah.
it's a whole other level of complication, especially when my girlfriend and I work from home, and the same time that they're supposed to be in school is the same time we're supposed to be working from home.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, all right, hey, I got to jump in a meeting. You figure this out, and then 20 times during that meeting is, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this, and so that we work from home, and the kids would be home from summer, but having them homeschooled is a completely different animal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's tag team.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's like
And-
sorry, Cliff. Because we basically have set up. Okay, well, next 30 minutes to an hour, you have to go ahead and do this. Either wife is on a conference call or I'm waiting for stuff to come in. It's just one of those things where you have to, like you said, balance your life, school, and work schedules within an 8-hour period
Oh yeah.
during a day. But Cliff, you said you're having to do more than that. You're having to do those three plus your PT and everything else. So you're like at like what 4, 5, 6 different things.
Well, yeah. I mean, like they even have. I mean, we're somewhat lucky that they have an hour or 30 minutes to have a Teams meeting because they use Teams for Pinellas County Schools. Of okay, here's the OT. Here you're gonna do some stretches. You're gonna do some all that kind of stuff, and then our teachers just like it's due just when it needs to get done. So it's lucky enough that we have some leeway, but on top of that, Jess is also a teacher, so she has to do all of her live meetings, all of her stuff. So it's a tag team.
Yeah, how's that affecting her? I mean, obviously it's going to be affecting. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just say yeah.
Yeah.
It's frustrating in the sense of that the program now they have to become IT people, figuring out how to use Teams and trying to figure out the best way to interact with your kids through this medium.
Right.
Is a special sort of learning curve. But it takes time. I had to give her like a basic rundown of how Teams works, just in their setup. So it's interesting. I can see where like homeschooling would be very beneficial from this. Like people who've done it previously is like, oh yeah, I know how to do this already. Trying to give a teacher has more interaction with their kids is a little hard to do it through tele.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like
I'm
it would
glad you
be
brought up the homeschooling because it's a lot of people say, "Oh, homeschool is easy," but right yet,
No.
in certain cases, but you have that flexibility to go out to certain places. You know, go to a museum
Oh
or
yeah.
go someplace to meet up with other homeschool kids. During this time, this temporary time, it's everyone is bunkered down and you can't go out.
Well, it's funny that they now people, at least the big like museums and stuff like that, have been giving like walking tours and
Hmm.
someone skyping and just going through and giving a tour of the museum or a park or stuff like that. So it's interesting how people have forced things to get to be able to apply those factors.
Well, and I'm curious too because for your wife, she's a special education teacher
Hmm.
on top too.
Yep. So she has a weird breakdowns like into what she does. She does math and science, and the person that does the other side does English and all the other stuff. So doing all that and trying to figure out the best way, like it can't be like, oh, here's a video and
Yeah.
watch the video and learn. She has people call her up, hey, can you help me with this and all this other kind of stuff. So it's a benefit that she has the ability to do that versus, okay, you know, Tommy and Josh, you could have the kids watch a video here, write the summary and all that other kind of stuff. So it's a little different, but it's manageable. It's just a different type of manage.
Well, there's also the other aspect where with Tommy and Josh, their kids are older and self-sufficient enough
Absolutely.
that whether they may not want to do it, you still can be like, hey, worst case scenario, go watch a movie. You know they're good for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You can focus on your work. Whereas with myself and with Cliff, we've got the little ones
Yeah.
that don't quite understand.
Yeah. Why is
And-
mommy and daddy home all the
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Well, and that brings up another weird issue, and I don't know if Josh bumps into the same problem. Is our kids are at that age where your kids don't know what's going on. Our kids do and
Mhm.
don't.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I can tell, especially more my stepdaughter than anybody else. She is freaked out. Both of them are freaked out because they don't understand what's going on. When they come back from their dad's house, like they can't be around me for a little while. I can't hug them. I can't kiss them. I can't really be in a close confined space with them because I don't know if they brought something home.
Yeah.
So like trying to explain to them, and then the flip side is giving them this warning to give them a heads up, like, hey, you really can't touch my stuff. You can't be really around me. The flip side is if I did become sick and it got bad, I know exactly the first place that their head would go would be, I got Tommy sick. This is because
Right.
of me.
Right.
And the other flip side
Ideal.
is like we've had to cut down a lot of the news that we watch in the house, or if we do it through our AirPods or our wireless headsets. This way, the kids don't hear the count, the body count and how many people are getting sick and the crazy things that people say on TV. Because that also freaks them out a bit, and they do know that there's something not right. They don't fully comprehend it, but they know there's something not right. And my stepdaughter, for instance, she will not leave her mother and myself alone. Like if she has to be right next to us all the time now, and usually she's like that when she feels very uncomfortable. But ever since we've been all working from home and going to school from home, she has been up our butts nonstop. Like we can't get away from her.
That's where the extra TP comes in play.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well, hopefully everyone is starting to invest in bidets.
yeah, I just use a hose in the backyard. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Just
That
hop in a
works.
shower.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's
That's why
outside to see.
one of the things I'm like, why toilet paper out of all the things?
No, that's mind-boggling.
Because
But
there's a lot of spoiled people.
it's
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, Joe does look like he lives in a cave in the middle of the woods.
Except with all the Funko stuff and everything back there.
Yeah.
It's a very well decorated cave, but it's a cave nonetheless. He's not an animal.
No, civilized, not some savage. But yeah, it's just having to deal with all schoolwork and everything like that is a lot of this stuff like PE. Um, we just go take a walk around the neighborhood for 30 minutes or so, or drag my daughter out last weekend helping out clearing out some of the brush and yard work. That was fun. Say, okay, you can throw this stuff into the fire. That's fine.
That's totally cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
That's lifting.
yeah, it's lifting.
Get daddy some of that gasoline. We gotta get this done.
But yeah, it's just having a change of pace where, I wake up. I don't really get good dressed. This is basically my work clothes now. I used to do like business casual, and having a set schedule and everything is just kind of like gone by the wayside where we're having to make our own schedules instead of dropping you off at school at a certain time. Okay, no, we'll go ahead and do a morning. Let's do your reading and stuff. Or okay, you didn't finish this particular assignment yesterday. You had to get it done now before you can do anything else. Because this is all due by Friday. If you don't get it done by Friday, well, you're in trouble here. Not at school, but also at school, but here as well. So it's just one of the things where we're all having to. Our lives are pretty much just like changed for probably for the future because how things go back to normal. I mean, how do we go back to our old normal?
We don't.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have no doubt about that.
I feel like we are eventually. I think it's going to be probably a lot longer than a lot of people are going to assume. I know we have friends that work for a place that does software, but on the micro level, like a micro software company, that they announced that they are not going to be doing any events, public events, for until bare minimum July of next year.
Wow.
So, and that's we all work in the tech industry. If that's not hundreds of millions of dollars lost for that Microsoft company, then that is that would be probably bare minimum, probably anywhere hundreds of millions to billions of dollars lost of revenue for that company.
Not just the company, also for the city that was going to be held in.
And the industries.
And the industry.
The partners that work for that soft micro company.
But also look at it, like Vegas has shut down.
Have you seen those footages of like it being completely empty? Like normal would have been packed.
No,
like it looked. Oh, they're amazing. It's just to see how empty those places are. Like they've shown like St. Patrick's Cathedral of where just no one's on the street, or all these big major populace is just empty. It's beautiful. It almost looks like it's a candid shot that they took to show like on posters, but it's just like a Tuesday.
It's not your normal Tuesday anymore.
Yeah,
it's very surreal.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to see the environmental impact from all this too.
Oh yeah.
And I'm wondering what the long-term arguments and aspects are going to be once we get back to our daily lives.
Hopefully for the better.
Yeah, well, you look at let's look at China. The last time that this happened was during the Beijing Olympics, where they cut out all the pollution, and it's like, oh, sky's blue. What? How did this happen?
Yeah, like there was like someone. I'll take it with this grain of salt, but like dolphins are now going back into Venice.
There's fish and stuff in the canals of Venice
are actually running clear.
Yeah.
And then it brings me back to that parallel of this is going to happen right now of Endgame, where there's whales in the Hudson River again, like, and it's like weirdly there's a weird, I hate to say it like this, but a weird upside to it of like, oh wow, if we just stayed at home, didn't drive cars, didn't travel as much as we did, and weren't outside the litter, this is how beautiful the world. It's like,
it's only been a month. Just imagine.
Yeah, it's only. Yeah, exactly.
Well, there was a thing that I saw that showed like the global like temperature and like the hot spots, like United States, where there was so much going on in just a week or two, and all of a sudden that hotspot was dying down.
Yeah.
So it's something that, if I remember correctly, people used to say before all this that even if we did do what we're doing now, it wouldn't have as great of an impact. Well, now they're kind of being proven wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I'm wondering, once we get back to our, new normal, whether that's like our old normal or something new, this
There's a
is going to be
conspiracy.
used as an argument in some form or function.
Well-
So I wonder what that's going to actually change.
I'm gonna say we're gonna have like a new normal like we had with after 9/11, how security got updated. Things are just going to be maybe better taken care of, whether that's local or through global scale.
I think for this, it's going to shed a lot of light on systems that we have in place that maybe didn't work well, but now we show underneath extreme conditions like this, they're horrible or don't work at all.
Yeah.
From a social economic standpoint, from a healthcare standpoint, from just interacting with people, like, hey, maybe shaking hands is an old, antiquated, not okay thing to do anymore. Like, when I used to go to conventions, tech conventions, the first couple of times I got massively sick. Yeah, almost every convention that I went to. And what I realized is that the guys that I was working with that weren't getting sick afterwards were fist bumping, and I was shaking hands. So then I started doing the fist bump, and I was like, oh, I'm going to these conventions. I'm not getting sick anymore. So, and that's kind of how things are going now. Like, people don't shake hands, even though it's kind of like I did it the other day to somebody. I was like, oh, never mind. Holy crap. Because
Yeah.
it's a
Too slow.
muscle response. Like, you don't even think about it. It's like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, never mind. Sorry, dude.
Well, it's also a cultural too, because here in a lot of places in Europe is a common handshake. Like Japan, of course, is the bow, and everywhere else is something different. But that's going to be like a huge cultural shift for us. Like, okay, no longer handshaking.
Yeah, handshake deals. I mean, no longer.
Exactly. So it's
Well,
going to be like either the fist bump or the elbow and
I wonder what
The
it's
Ebola
also going
elbow?
to do for like our fossil fuels
Mm.
and our energy sources.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're saying, well, without going all political, because this is not that show. How going forward are we going to be going into more like electric vehicles? Like, okay, we can cut back on everything, the pollution, and we can see actually the mountain range off in the distance, or LA is no longer smog free, or is smog free.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say.
double negative.
And also not, and I think there's going to be a lot of other ramifications of this, and not to get political, I'm not going to say one above the other, but there's two mindsets right now. That is, what's better for society: large safety nets like there are in Europe, or more of a laissez-faire like we have in the United States, where it's which economy is going to bounce back the fastest? Is it going to be the countries that have a very broad, very giving a safety net for society, or is it going to be America, where it's you pull yourself up by your bootstrap? At the end of the day, which one's going to bounce back faster, and who's going to be left in the dust? So I feel like a lot of conversations that have happened in people, in coffee shops, in people's conversations that they've had with maybe people that don't see politically eye to eye to each other. This may be the true test of which system or which combination of systems work the best at the end of the day. Because if you really think about it, this is a gigantic reset on so many things.
It is.
Like, I'm amazed that people are handling it as well as they have been, because it is a gigantic cultural change. Like, this is a big thing, whether we kind of realize it or not, because we're living in the moment.
I feel like regardless of who bounces back, though, it's just going to be another argument point on one side of the fence or the other.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not really going to be much of a change, because there's always going to be some counter argument that can be used. For example, if, let's use the United States bounces back slower, they're going to use the arguments of the numbers of how many people we lost, how many people were down, and that's why we couldn't come back quicker.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be something when it comes to the economic standpoint of it. I don't think it'll be as impactful as we would hope.
I would really hope that, and this is me being an optimist, is that it kind of resets people's thinking, because it is. I feel like by the time this is all said and done, it's going to reset a lot of people's preconceived notions. At least I like to think that, because it's kind of putting the metal to the road, you know. So,
But I mean, not to be political, but you've seen where the things of like our governor,
Mhm.
how slow to turn around versus New York or other places where they were shutting down a lot faster.
You know, you say that, Cliff, and while there are a lot of people that agree with that, the Bay News 9 did a poll, and his ratings actually have gone up because of the way he handled things.
And they
Well-
said the same thing about our leader in chief, of that he's doing a great job. So you
Hey,
have to look
we're
at
number
it as,
one.
yeah. But once again, you know, hopefully in the sense of that, like Tommy said, being an optimist, that hopefully this changes things. But unfortunately, we are very slow to change as a
Yeah,
whole.
Like, I'm wondering, especially for, I was reading an interesting article about the people that are right now saving the day are the people that a lot of people look down on as minimum wage,
Yeah, the
entry level
$12
jobs.
Yeah.
Like, if you really think about it, I think every supermarket employee, anybody in shipping, delivery right now, especially medical field, you know, should be at least bare minimum getting hazard pay from their
Mhm.
work. You know, and these people are doing it for $9 an hour.
Yeah.
I think that's going to shed a lot of light on things.
You know, it's
I-
funny. It will shed a lot of light, but at the same time, there are people that are getting just as not ignored, but are not getting the spotlight that they deserve. That are supporting the people that are getting the spotlight. So, like before all this, you know, the doctors and like your truck drivers and stuff like that didn't really get a lot of attention like they should. Now they're getting that attention, but now you're not looking at the people that are supporting those people, like the mechanics that are keeping the trucks on the road and, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
So it's
The
funny
essential
how
employees.
it just,
Yeah.
it just basically just shifts. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't change. It just shifts in who's in the spotlight.
Well,
Exactly.
it shows that blue collar workers are pretty much the backbone for any kind of industry, no matter which
Worse.
industry you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that, okay, so all of a sudden blue collar workers are like, they're gone. Your white collar or C-level people, like, how do I go get my burrito in the morning or my Starbucks coffee? Like, guess
breakfast
what?
burrito, man.
Yeah. But it's like one of those things, like everything is, think of it as like a pyramid. Like your blue collar is your foundation. Once that goes, everything else is going to fall away.
Yeah. Well, and I also wonder what the future impact of your more crowded public things, like your public transportations, your concerts, your sporting events, your Olympics, you know, stuff like that. I wonder what kind of impact this will have on that going forward.
Oh yeah, I could see a huge difference on how everything is, how we interact as people. Period. I can see being a huge difference.
We're probably going to see a lot of like temperature reading along with bag checks and metal detectors.
Oh yeah.
It's people, unfortunately, there is a large contingent of people that think this is no big deal. It's just a flu. So yeah, you know.
Well, I don't know if you guys seen, there's counter protests now of social distancing, where people are putting up meetups where people are, and you know, they'll meet up in parking lots and have gigantic barbecues. Or you know, I'll give you a prime example. I was doing some video work for some local businesses, and one of the local businesses had set up like it's a restaurant. They set up like a drive-through system where you can order. Basically, they have a person on the far end of the parking lot. You can put your order with them, and then by the time you make it through this zigzag line for cars, your food is generally ready. If not, they have you park on the other side of the parking lot. Well, I was there doing some video work, and people, probably a good 30, 50 people showed up and set up tables in the parking lot on the other side and just started having all dinner together. Like, it was a gigantic family with elderly people, young people. I'm pretty sure I saw somebody with an oxygen tank. Like, I'm like, they're all going to die. Like, but they're like, this is a hoax. We're gonna still meet up and everything. I'm like, well, sorry, buddy. Like, I hope you guys make it.
Darwin Awards.
But there is a counter protest to it where it's no, I'm not going to do the social distancing. I'm going to do the complete opposite. I'm going to get huge groups of people together.
As long as they stay together all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm inside. I'm fine. Like,
Yeah, as long as that group, gets smaller and smaller because they're all dying off.
yeah, all this. There was 50 people here last time. Yeah, we
What
lost
happened?
40 of them.
Yeah, what happened to them? Oh, they got the bug. They got the flu. They'll be fine. We'll see them next
fine.
week.
Mm.
Yeah, the world's changing. It always does. And technology or social or anything kind of mindset we had before, we're constantly going to have to look at going forward from now until the future. And it's just one of those things that we'll have to deal with, and we'll have those people, the deniers, I'll call them that, are constantly going to be pushing back for some odd strange reason because humans suck.
There's
I mean, if
always
there's
going to be
flat
that.
earthers, there's going
Yeah.
to be people that deny that. Like, I've got friends on my Facebooks that think that it is a conspiracy theory, that it's not an actual real thing.
Same thing, like you say flat earthers or Holocaust deniers. Like, really? You can't see the bigger picture?
Elvis, Tupac.
Ah,
They're
No,
in that
Tupac's
trailer
around,
park.
bro. I don't
Tupac's
wanna-
around, man. Yeah,
Tupac's
exactly.
around. Yeah, he's in
I
Ecuador
I
right
saw
now.
him last week.
He knew this was the time to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He releases a new album.
about COVID. That's a weird thing.
Weird.
I know, right? So topical,
The fundraiser.
especially for a dead guy. Or dead guy.
It's interesting, like speaking, like how you like. It'd be really exciting to see what comes out of this, and like you said, in technology wise, like is stuff that's going to be more VR or AR stuff like that, stuff that's going to come out that's going to be the forefront of stuff. Like,
what
are
are you
we
guys
going to
doing
get
to
the
stay sane?
You're looking at
Gaming, streaming.
gaming? I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons and through Discord and stuff like that. So interesting.
I've
I've had
actually
a 3-year-old run around the house. I haven't had a chance.
Wow, I never thought I'd hear Joe say I don't have enough time for video games.
I know, right?
I
The
don't
world.
I
start
think I'm shook
playing
to my
until-
core.
I don't start playing until like 10 o'clock at night.
The world has definitely changed.
I've been
Joe
playing-
doesn't have time.
I've been playing Star Wars, and I know I talked about this on the last podcast that we had together, but Sean and I have been playing Fallout 76 again, getting ready for the Wastelanders.
Oh, you're prepping, so that's good.
We're prepping. We got to get our levels up. Unfortunately, we missed last week because they had their big triple XP
Mhm.
day where you tripled up your XP. Everything was triple XP. But we're waiting for the Wastelanders because I'm like an abused person where I just keep on coming back, hoping that they'll say that everything's okay, and then just getting punched in the face again. So I'm hoping that apparently a lot of things that people were complaining about Fallout 76, apparently the Wastelanders edition is fixing all of it.
Didn't they say that the last time?
Yeah.
I don't want.
See, I've still just been playing Sea of Thieves.
Oh yeah.
I've been doing a little bit of that. I've been also diving more into MMOs. I've actually reinstalled Champions Online.
That's still around.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I jumped back on the Second Life for the first time in like 4 years. And the funny thing is, I went on the Reddit to be like, the places I used to go, no one's there. And the funny thing is, I literally probably had the most replies out of any Reddit post I've ever put in about people that were coming back because they have nothing else to do and they need to talk
Yeah.
to people. As
They
an
need that
extreme
second life.
extrovert, I need to talk to people all the time or I go insane.
It's a wild ride. But hopefully you'll enjoy your Fallout 76 for the next couple weeks. before it
Then I
goes
bought
down.
an electric skateboard, which I
Yeah,
died on.
Yeah, that was a wild ride, right?
Yeah, so there's two modes on it. I bought it. I was super excited to get it. And there's two modes. There's a normal mode and then there's a sport mode. I rode around on the normal mode for a while. I was like, oh, this is fine. This is excellent. Then I put it on sport mode, which unlocks it up to 20 miles per hour and faster acceleration. And all of a sudden I was jamming down the road doing about 18. And all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I'm doing fine. I pressed a little bit more on the throttle and flew very far, and
You did
hit the
not.
ground, bounced off the ground, and then slid a good foot. And then this is how that ended for me. So
Yeah.
that's up and down the entire right side of my body. I am not 15 years old anymore. I have to realize that I am a 36-year-old man.
You
You got to keep it on turtle. Don't bump it up to rabbit. Keep it on
Yeah,
turtle.
can't do the rabbit. Just keep it on turtle. Best advice ever, Joe. Thanks.
Wise words from a bearded man.
He just looks so wise. It's
Oh,
crazy.
look at him. Like,
Working on that Santa beard.
Jeez.
so you think you're gonna have him by Christmas?
No.
He's gonna look like a wizard by Christmas.
He's gonna be running around like, roll for initiative.
He's the ultimate D&D master right now.
Well, you got Cliff. Look at Cliff.
I know.
I think Joe and Cliff are kind of like competing with one another.
Cliff's got a lot more experience with this than I do, though.
Yeah. So closing out the show, Tommy, you got anything you want to promote, like a podcast or?
So yeah, I'm gonna start redoing our Two Evil Step Parents podcast. It's myself and a fellow step parent, Laura DeBick. Right now we're on Facebook. We were working on a YouTube channel right before this all happened. I started building a studio in my office upstairs, and then the end of the world happened, which kind of put that off. So if you want to look at us, we're on Facebook. We're the Two Evil Step Parents. We're going to put solo content down soon. We may do a couple of Skype interviews like this in the future as well. It's mostly about being a step parent and how to survive being a step parent. Because no one ever talks about being a part-time parent and getting your kids pre-owned. So we figured that's a good space to fill in.
I love that tagline. Pre-owned children.
Pre-owned children.
Cliff, Joe?
I don't have anything. Support
Nope.
your local hospitals and keep them happy. That'd be
Oh,
great.
he has to go
And
to
local
high road.
business.
Now I just look like a jerk.
I
Promoting
don't,
my
I
stuff,
don't
he's
have
like-
social anything, so I have to take support your local food banks.
Fair enough.
Well, you are from an undisclosed location. You don't
I
want to go
am.
on that grid.
He can say that because he's in a safe bunker.
Joe's traveling on the high seas.
I'm in a bunker. It just looks a little nicer. This isn't natural lighting. This is indirect lighting.
Yeah, those aren't Funkos or collectors. Those are MREs. No,
That's where he hides all of his guns.
Yeah. Oz has been gaming and streaming on my channel and getting this all taken care of. But this is a great episode. It ran a little long, but who cares? There's so much to pack. I mean, we could
Nothing
have
else
gone
to
another
do.
hour.
We're old men. We can gripe all day.
Yeah, get off my yard. So I want to say thank you for coming by, everybody, and doing this Skype call. I mean, I know it's a little change of pace, but the way things are nowadays, so we got to do what we got to do.
Indeed.
It actually worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, except for NDI, but that's it worked fine yesterday, but today no.
Not
But-
so much.
Yeah. So if you want to go ahead, hit all the socials, go to the website at thecollective.network. You'll see everything there. This video will be on YouTube and stuff like that. If you go on, you see the little bug that's been going throughout the whole show. All the socials there. So until next time, we'll see you later. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.